Dear students, whatever theorems we have discussed in this unit so far are related to a diagonalizable matrix. But in the today's class, we are going to see a result which is related to a diagonalizable linear transformation. So, first of all, let us recall what exactly a diagonalizable linear operator is. If t from v to v is a linear transformation, then we say that it is diagonalizable if there exists basis of the vector space V with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix. Now let us move towards the theorem and let us see what does it say. So here is the statement of the theorem. A linear operator is given to us and the question is asked, when do we say that T is diagonalizable? But I have already told you the definition and as well as I have written it here. As you can see, we say that T is diagonalizable if there exists basis of V with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix. Now the question is, what is this notation? This notation is nothing but what? It stands for the matrix representation of the linear operator T, and this indicates the basis of domain and codomain respectively, because whenever you write certain linear transformation in a matrix form, definitely some basis of domain and codomain is involved there. Now what is the result saying? It says that show that T is diagonalizable if and only if V has a basis consisting of eigenvectors of T. Remember, what do you mean by diagonalizable operator? If there exists a basis with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix. So by using that, what we have to prove? V has a basis consisting of eigenvectors of T. Now we have already learned what exactly eigenvalue and eigenvector is. A real number alpha will be an eigenvalue of a linear operator T if there exists some non-zero vector belonging to V such that T of V is equal to alpha V. I hope you remember it. Now let us move towards the proof of the theorem. So first of all, I will assume that T is diagonalizable. Now once I say that T is diagonalizable, I am assuming that there exists a basis V is equal to this with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix. Now whenever I say that this is a diagonal matrix, now let us give some notation to it. So I will say let that matrix be, so I will say let. So this is a notation that I have used for the matrix representation of T. But what does it mean actually? Now whenever we are writing certain linear transformation in matrix form, this first column gives us what? It gives us the coefficients of the first equation, or in other words, from where you are getting this first column in this matrix, you are getting it from the coefficients of the first equation. Which equation I am talking about? I am talking about the images of the basis set of the domain. Now in this case, the basis of domain as well as codomain is same. And which is that set? This set. This is that basis, right? So I am talking about images of the basis elements, that is nothing but T1, V1 and so on up to TV1, TV2 and so on up to TVn. Yes. So first column is alpha 1 0 0 0. It means in this first equation we are having alpha 1 V1 plus 0 times V2. This is continued plus 0 times Vn. Now what is the second equation? Sorry, what is the second column? In the second column all the coefficients are 0 except this you can say the entry in the second row and second column. So it means the coefficient of V2 is alpha 2 and rest of the terms has coefficients to be 0. And if you go towards the last column, you can see that all the coefficients will be 0 except the last one, which will be alpha and Vn. So now you can just think in a converse way. So actually the coefficients of this first equation gives us the first column of the matrix. So first column will be alpha 1 0, so on 0, that is what we are having. Now after observing the second equation, the second column will be 0, alpha 2 0, and so on, that is what we are having. And continuing in this way, somewhere here you will have alpha 3, that will be continued, and the last column will be 0 0 alpha n. So since we are assuming this as a notation for this matrix representation of T, this will happen if this happens, right? So thus what I have said here, so I have given some notation to this matrix representation of T. Now instead of writing the entire matrix, a shortcut has been used, simply diagonal alpha 1 alpha 2 n, so on up to alpha n, and this 2 holds if this thing happens, which is already explained to you right now. But if you write this entire equations in a simplified form, then what we are going to get? From the first equation we will get T of V1 is equal to alpha 1 V1, that is what we are having. T of V2 is equal to alpha 2 V2, and T of Vn is equal to alpha and Vn will be from this last equation. But after looking towards this, do you remember certain things? What do you recall after looking towards it? Do you recall the definition of eigenvalue and eigenvector? So if you see properly, this will imply that this V1 is an eigenvector corresponding to eigenvalue alpha 1, similarly V2 is an eigenvector corresponding to alpha 2, and so on. Vn is an eigenvector corresponding to eigenvalue alpha n. So indirectly what we have proved is this V1, V2 up to Vn are nothing but the eigenvectors corresponding to eigenvalues alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha n. And remember what we wanted to prove? We wanted to prove that V has a basis consisting of eigenvectors of T. What is the meaning of that? The meaning is V had some basis, okay, let us say Wt. So V has some basis and all the elements in that basis are nothing but what? The eigenvectors. So have we found such a basis of vector space V where each element of that basis is eigenvector? Absolutely, we have done. See, in the beginning we have started with what? This as the basis of the vector space V, and these are the elements of that basis set, and now we have proved that this V1, V2, Vn are nothing but the eigenvectors. So we have a basis of V in which every vector is an eigenvector. Thus what we have proved? V has a basis consisting of what? Eigenvectors of T, and that is what I have written here, and this comes from 1 and 3. Okay, actually this is the important part of 1, yeah, and from here. So if part is done, now we will move towards the converse part of this theorem. So in the converse part we will assume that V has a basis consisting of eigenvectors of T, and we have to prove that T is diagonalizable. So indirectly what we have to prove? There exists means what? Means we have to find some basis of V with respect to which the matrix representation of T will be a diagonal matrix, and let us see how do we do that. So our claim is to prove T is diagonalizable. Now as it is given that V has a basis consisting of eigenvectors of T, let us start with some basis of V in which the every vector of that set is eigenvector. So that is what I have started with. So this is given. So I will say let V is equal to V1, V2 up to Vn be a basis of V in which this every vector, that is V1, V2 up to Vn, is an eigenvector of T. Now since each vector is an eigenvector, definitely there will be some eigenvalue, isn't it? Because first of all, how do we get the eigenvectors? Without eigenvalue we cannot get eigenvectors, right? Now since this V1, V2, Vn are eigenvectors, so there will be some eigenvalues corresponding to these eigenvectors. So let us call that eigenvalues as alpha 1, alpha 2 and so on up to alpha n. So what I said here, let alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha n be eigenvalues corresponding to these eigenvectors. But according to the definition of eigenvalue and eigenvector, what we can say, T of V1 is equal to alpha 1 V1 and T of V2 is equal to this and T of Vn is equal to this. But how can we rewrite all these equations? This can be written as, the first equation I can write it as alpha 1 V1 plus 0 times V2 plus so on 0 times Vn. Over here I can write it as 0 plus alpha 2 V2 plus so on plus 0 Vn, and at last I can write it as 0 V1 plus 0 V2 and so on up to alpha and Vn. Now take a note that what we wanted to do, we wanted to prove that T is diagonalizable. It means we wanted to find basis of V with respect to which T is a diagonal matrix, and we are choosing that basis to be this itself. Which one? Yeah, this itself. We have started with what? The basis of V, in which every vector is an eigenvector. So we are picking this basis only. So we are going to prove that the matrix representation of T with respect to this basis is actually nothing but what? A diagonal matrix. That is what we wanted to do actually, right? We wanted to find a basis of the vector space V with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix, and this is our that basis. So now just we have to do some manipulations, and what are that manipulations? These are that manipulations. So actually what I have done is, in order to show that this set is in order to show that matrix representation with respect to this basis is a diagonal matrix, we need to find T of V1, T of V2 up to T of Vn, right? And that is what we got here, right? We got T of V1, we got T of V2, in fact, yeah, it is equal to, right? And we got T of Vn as well. Now what is our final job? How do we write down the matrix representation of T? So whatever this first equation is there, pick up the coefficients and arrange them in column wise. So the coefficient of first equation will give you the first column, second equation, the coefficients of the second equation will give you second column, and so on, right? So this is rewriting this equation once again, and this is what we get. And you can see that the matrix representation of T with respect to this basis is a diagonal matrix. So we have found out a basis of V whose matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix, and thus T is diagonalizable. So therefore we have a basis V of V with respect to which the matrix representation of T is a diagonal matrix, and thus T is diagonalizable, and that is what we wanted to prove. So we'll stop here. Thank you.